Hello everybody, it's Amanda. How are you doing? Today is St. Patrick's Day. It's the 17th of March 2020 and this is day 2 of what I want to call a diary stroke broadcast, which Archangel Metatron is asking me to do to help support you through these times that we're in at the moment. And I have been asked to step further up to the mark and to bring some calm presence and teaching and companionship for you. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to try and do these videos daily. If it isn't a video, I will always try and put, I don't know, some sort of inspirational poem or picture or piece of wisdom on my community tab on YouTube or on my Facebook page, which is called Angelic Celestial Colours. And we will carry on for as long as it's needed, okay? Day 1 was yesterday, so if you missed that, then it's there for you to watch. Just to explain, because a few people seem to be confused what a community tab is on YouTube. You're watching me now on YouTube. If you go to where it says Amanda Ellis and you click on that, it will come to my main, the main homepage of my YouTube channel, and you'll see there are a number of different tabs, including ones which say, I can't remember now off the top of my head, but videos. Another one of them is community, and if you tap on the community tab, you come up with a whole load of posts from me, basically. Okay, so that is in addition to whatever I will be putting up on Facebook as well. Okay, so I will try and keep the messages synchronized for everybody on each platform. Yesterday's message I won't go over because you can go back and look at it, but I am just going to say, because I think it's important, that I got confirmation last night about a few of the messages that I put out yesterday. One of you has sent me an article this morning from the Washington Post, I think it might have been. But anyway, it's some scientific study that's been done looking at the way different nations are trying to deal with this crisis in our midst, the virus. And they are coming to the assumption that the middle way is the way that all nations should be going. And that's exactly what Metatron told me to say yesterday. He talked about the mean or the average response. So there was a nod to that being confirmed less than 24 hours. And also the other piece of guidance yesterday was a call to action for those light workers who are able to do it, to step up to the mark and to try and send some prayers and light to people that might be dying on their own in a sort of hospital situation whereby friends and family are not allowed to visit because of potential contamination. And again, last night there was a story, pretty much headline here in the UK, about a lady who had lost her mother in that circumstance. So I felt that again, that was a nod from Metatron, which is that he knows exactly what's going on at ground level, and he's going to help us to receive the information that we need on a day-to-day basis. But I think for me, I find it very helpful to know that I've always known Metatron's on the ball, but he really is on the ball. Okay. A few of you are also commenting on things that I've said in the past, which, to be honest, I forget what I say because when I'm channeling, I don't write it down. But one of you alluded to a video that I have made a few months ago where I was talking about something big happening around this period of time in the lead up to Easter and Easter. Easter's obviously in April, early April. And I wasn't being shown what that was. It was being deliberately veiled. And now, of course, we can understand what that was that I wasn't being allowed to see. And it's really important that you understand that Spirit sometimes veils things so that we can't see the full extent of what's coming. Because A, they want to give us information on a need-to-know basis. B, they don't want to panic us, and C, if they tell us information too early, it actually changes behaviours which can have a detrimental effect on the whole of the collective. So one of the things we haven't even talked about here yet on this channel, but I will be talking about at some point, although probably not today, is the financial ramifications of the economy, world economy being affected. And it will be bad enough linked into the period that we're going to be going through this together. But if it had started even earlier in terms of people changing their behaviours and panicking because they could see something was coming on the horizon, it would have been made 10 times worse. So you have to trust Spirit will give you the information when you need to know it, and also that they are here steering us through these times. The other thing that I wanted just to make note of is those of you that watched my Julian Assange video. Do you remember when I pulled the cards for Julian in terms of would he be extradited to the USA? And there was the thing about, you know, would that happen or not? And I brought through some information linked into, I felt that the virus was going to lead to aeroplanes not being in the sky, or certainly not being able to get into the US. And when I said that, which was only maybe 2-3 weeks ago, maybe it was 2 weeks ago actually, I remember saying it and thinking, this sounds bonkers, this sounds crazy to even say this. But roll forward to today and there are no flights allowed into the US from the UK. So again, I'm not saying these things to blow my own trumpet. I'm saying these things so that you have some reassurance in terms of the strand of energy and consciousness that I'm channeling, that it is correct. That doesn't mean that at times my individual interpretation of it may be wrong, or I might get it wrong, but it does give some reassurance that actually what we're tapping into here, which of course is Metatron, there is some accurate information coming through, okay? And I think that personally makes me feel better as well. So what I have promised on these daily updates is, well, we're just going to roll with it, to be honest. I'm just being told to steady the ship, okay? So some days we might do cards, some days we might focus on a colour, some days we might talk about something that's happened in the news over the last 24 hours. Sometimes we might do a prayer. I don't know. It's going to be different from day to day. But I am particularly doing it for the people that are feeling very isolated and who are needing companionship at this moment. I mentioned yesterday, and I'm sure this is relevant for many parts of the world, that certainly here in the UK, the elderly population are being asked to stay in isolation for up to 3 to 4 weeks. That includes many of our parents and grandparents. Some people in different countries seem to be getting the wrong end of the stick when I say that it's some sort of discrimination against them. It's nothing to do with that. It's to do with the fact that we're trying to protect our elderly and vulnerable population so that they don't get exposed, because the NHS is being shown to be struggling before the peak of infections have even hit. So it's about trying to safeguard people rather than trying to take away their human liberties. I will say something today, that driving back just now, it's only 5 to 10 here, so that's the sort, it was only about an hour ago. But I was just thinking about making this video today and what was I going to say to you. And I thought, okay, well, we need to just be making the point probably over and over again that this is a time for us all to be pulling together, helping each other, and that whatever circumstance you're in, it may very well be challenging, but I feel as though it actually helps us to realise that there are many people in many countries going through this at the same time, and that tuning into the collective energy is actually very helpful, because it makes you feel as though you're not the only one that's sort of shut away or struggling with work, or indeed maybe unwell. And at that moment, you know, the songs that I always get, a song came on the radio and it was The Name of the Game by ABBA. And I felt that it was Metatron saying, yeah, that is the name of the game. That is the name of the game, that we are all in this together, and that this is a time for us to be helping our fellow man. And so that being said, let's get to the subject of today. Well, the subject of today does feel as though it needs to be linked into the green ray because it is St. Patrick's Day. And I am in England, okay? So St. Patrick is the patron saint of Ireland. And I don't know anything about him actually, apart from the fact he's associated with Ireland and he's associated with the green ray. So I turned on my radio this morning and, you know, you can't make this stuff up. It's a local radio station, and these are the first words that I hear, okay, this morning. I turn on my radio and the disc jockey, or DJ, that ages me, the DJ is saying, and of course we know that St. Patrick was known because he banished the snakes from Ireland. And I'm like, whoa, I didn't know that. So yes, I've just looked that up, and it says here that Patrick, who was a Christian missionary, supposedly rid Ireland of snakes during the 5th century AD. And according to legend, the patron saint of Ireland chased the slithering reptiles into the sea after they began attacking him during a 40-day fast he undertook on top of a hill. Now, this is relevant for many reasons. Firstly, those of you that have been following my work know that the first painting that I showed you, which I'm not going to show you again, which depicted the virus, okay, I said it looked quite reptilian and alien in nature, and obviously not particularly friendly. And snake-like. It actually has got 3 eyes, this particular painting, but you know, they're quite bulbous. It's not a particularly nice energy to, you know, tune into. And here we have Patrick, who was able to rid a whole island of reptilian snakes. I feel as though there's a message here that Patrick, St. Patrick, is wanting to help us to rid virus from our homes and from our land. And I think it's a case of calling him in to help us do that. I certainly feel as though he's literally, it's like he's signing up for duty is what I'm being shown. It's like he's signing in for duty, that he's on board the team. And I hadn't appreciated that he was on board the team. I've been calling in the angels and the galactics and Jesus and Mary to help with this situation because they're my go-tos. St. Patrick wasn't on my radar because he just wasn't. And all of a sudden, from this morning, I'm thinking, actually, St. Patrick feels as though he's got a role to play here. I also am being led to the USA because there's a lot of Irish people, of course, that emigrated to the United States or who have roots with Ireland. So I'm feeling particularly, it's not that he's saying, I'm only going to work with people in USA or Ireland. I'm just feeling that there seems to be something within the DNA of people, maybe in Ireland and USA, that particularly resonate with St. Patrick, but he's really for everybody. The other thing that I find very fascinating is that Patrick was meant to chase the snakes into the sea during the 40-day fast he had, which he undertook on top of a hill. Well, we are in the 40-day period right now of Lent, okay? Lent started, don't know, can't remember off the top of my head, but Lent has started, and we are in that 40-day run-up to Easter. So I feel as though this is deeply, deeply symbolic, don't you? So I'm just going to try and link into St. Patrick, which I have never done before in my life. And I'm going to just bring him in via the Emerald Ray, which to me is always a nod to the Emerald Isle and both Ireland and Northern Ireland, where actually this particularly originated in Northern Ireland. Okay, so desperate, it's leaping across the desk. Let's bring this in then. So let's link into Emerald, okay, as a colour ray, and we'll see if we can feel Patrick's energy, okay? So I'd like you just to be envisaging emerald green as a colour in your aura. And we're breathing in the emerald together. And as we breathe in that deep emerald green, we are taking it into our lungs. And the emerald green in the lungs is bringing in qualities of deep healing, rejuvenation, and strength. Emerald green, rejuvenation, strength, and healing into the lungs. But I'm also wanting you to envision your whole aura being surrounded by beautiful emerald light, so that you're sparkling with emerald. It's as though you can see emerald in your eyes, you can see emerald coming out of your hands, you can see emerald in your hair, you can see emerald at your throat, you can see emerald at your heart, you can see emerald all the way down your back, you can see emerald on the soles of your feet, and that you're standing on this succulent, moist moss. And this succulent, moist moss has got qualities of health and healing, and you're soaking that up through the soles of your feet. Your feet are absorbing the emerald ray, and it's traveling up through the chakras of the feet into all of the meridians of the body, knowing exactly where it needs to go, into any organ that needs it, into any place where it needs to rest. And I'm seeing it particularly resting on a lot of people's shoulders, as though it's helping to ease the burden, take away some of the anxiety. And then let's envision that emerald energy around our home, around our family, around our town, around our country. And I'm being led particularly to country. So if you just envision your country now, wherever the centre point is of your country, I would like you to imagine that there is the most beautiful, large green hill. And at the top of this green hill stands a cross. And in front of that cross stands the figure of St. Patrick. And from the top of the hill, St. Patrick is able to see north, south, east and west. And he's holding a long staff, a long wooden staff or rod. There is a ribbon, there are some ribbons on top of this staff or this rod. And he commands the infection and the virus to leave this land. And I'm seeing it leave via water. And I'm also actually seeing Mother Earth opening up to absorb some of this toxicity in her midst. And she's taking it into her bowel and is able to transmute it, destroy it, burn it in the fiery furnace of the core of Gaia. So the virus starting to be transmuted by the power of fire and by the power of water. And just feel into that energy. Feel into his presence. Feel into his strength. And then that visualization, what he's showing me, is that you need to be imagining him when needed within the center of your home, within the center of your business, or standing right behind you. And his job is to command. It's almost like I'm being shown him as a, you know, those people that stand and they direct traffic. Okay, you go here, you go there. It's like he directs the infection away from the main danger zones where maybe many people are, or you are. I'm also being told he has the ability to be able to, if you have the infection within you, to direct it away from the critical organs that could be, worst case scenario, affected by it. So it leaves your physicality in the easiest way possible, whatever that means. Possibly it might be the skin. Okay. St. Patrick is also bringing through a message about celebration. And he's reminding us, because he knows that all of the St. Patrick's Day celebrations have been shut down. And so he's saying, even if you can't meet as a group or as a community as you normally would on my day, he is saying, please raise a glass tonight to him. Or please raise, whatever it is you celebrate on St. Patrick's Day. I don't know anything about it really, but he's showing me raising a glass. And I get the firm impression that he wouldn't have done that when he was alive. But, you know, saints, just as much as any other being, evolves. Okay, so what people knew as St. Patrick when he walked the earth, I'm feeling was this very earnest missionary, you know, and he did still show himself with the cross. So there is still that affiliation with the cross. But equally, there is this energy with him where he understands now the importance of celebration and party. And he's saying it's because celebration is about joy. And joy is an energy which helps fight in virus. It helps fight negativity. And so to try and stay in joy on today. Okay, so he's showing me this balloon, effectively. It's like this green balloon with the, I think it's like the shamrock I'm being shown on it. And it's all deflated because the party's not happening. And it's like spirits blowing the balloon back up. And he's saying, even if you have a party with just one, have the party, because that will help raise the energy of the planet, which in turn helps fight the virus that is in our midst. Okay, so just raise a little glass is what he's saying. I like that. Okay, I'm shuffling some cards just because I've got them here, and I'm using a deck today which is called the Chakra Wisdom Tarot by Toni Hartman. To be honest, the reason I chose them is pretty obvious, because they're green, or it's got a lovely green box. I also chose them because the cards are all broken down into colours: red, blue, green, yellow, whatever. So there's a good chance we get a green card, but we might not do. Let's just see what we get, shall we? It's a tarot deck, so we'll just see what tarot card wants to come up today. I'm at 23 minutes. I did promise that these videos are only going to be about 20 minutes. So you know me, I can go on, but I need to preserve my own energy at the moment. So I mustn't do our videos every day, because it will... it'll tire me out, so tell me off if they get too long. I've got to move my mum at the moment. I mean, what a time for that to be happening. 2 weeks we've got to move her. So I'm about to go and pack boxes, and this morning I was chatting to Metatron. I said, we couldn't have picked a worse time for this eventually now to be happening, could we? And he said to me, no, it's the perfect time. He said, in the same way that people that are doing other things that are sort of life-changing at the moment, be it having a baby, or I can't think of anything else at the moment, but, you know, things which are very disruptive. I mean, they might be great, but they're also disruptive. He said, life can't stop. You have to keep going with life. So he said, it's fine. It's a perfect time. Okay, let's have a card then, please, for the people that are watching Metatron. The High Priestess. And we've got the Judgment card on the bottom of the deck. High Priestess. Tune into your own, I mean, then it's the Magician. Okay, I'm going to take that one as well. Yellow and orange. Put yellow and orange together and you sort of get a nice corally colour, peachy coral colour. Peachy coral colour is the energy that I've always linked to the Christ energy as well, who is able to help us transcend suffering, to transcend the suffering of the cross, okay? One of you mentioned, did I say this yesterday? I'm not going to be able to remember what I say from day to day, so I might repeat myself. But one of you mentioned, of course, we know corona links to the crown. It means crown. Christ wore a crown of thorns. It was all linked into the suffering that he had to go through. But yet he transcended that. He was able to transcend the suffering. So I feel as though there's a Christ energy here as well, which is saying we can transcend the suffering in our midst. But yeah, this is also saying you have hidden powers. The Magician is saying you have all of the tools that you need on the table at this time. If I take my example with my mum, I mean, I'm a human being. I'm going through this with you. I've got my own worries about my own family, you know, etc. But I'm keeping calm. I'm not going to go into panic. We will deal with it day by day. Moving my mum. I woke up this morning. I thought, oh my God, you know, I haven't got the energy. I've got to go and lug boxes now. How on earth am I going to do this on top of everything? And that's like, no, you're the Magician. We all are the Magician. You have the tools. You've got hidden reserves of energy. You can do this. You don't know what you can do until you're forced to do it. And that's the truth. And that's the energy that we're all in right now. So remember, you are the Magician. You're also the High Priestess. Okay, you're the High Priestess. You have hidden wisdom within you. Time to use it. Time to bring it out. High Priestess can also be something is veiled. Okay, it can be something is veiled. And we have got a Judgment card on the bottom of the deck. To me, this is repeating what I said at the start of this video. We are in times where we will look back and it will be, how did you respond to this crisis in our midst? Because this pandemic will end, okay? The world will go back to some semblance of normal, although I very much hope it will come back to a semblance of normal that is changed normal, that people will have remembered what was actually truly important, i.e. looking after your fellow man. But, you know, it's a judgment call on us in terms of, how are you going to respond today? Are you going to respond with greed and, you know, negative emotion? Or are you going to step into love and see how you can help, as well as help yourself? But how are you going to step into that? I noticed this morning, even driving back in the car, you know, usually people are sort of like cutting in front of you and trying to, you know, all of that, trying to cut in front of you at traffic lights, won't let you in. This morning it was like, please go first. It was like, oh, okay, thank you. It's little things like that. It doesn't have to be the big gestures. It's the little gestures that make everybody feel as though, oh, actually, thank you. Yeah, that was just kind. That was gentle. I appreciated that little moment. There was a moment yesterday in the chemist for me. I was at the chemist and I was just buying something, and there was a little old lady next to me and she had one of those trolleys on wheels. And she was trying to, they said, do you want a bag for some reason? And she couldn't quite decide whether she needed a bag or not. And then this woman behind the till was saying, well, it'll be 10p if you want a bag. And I realised I'd got 2 bags in my handbag. So I gave her a bag. You know, it's that type of thing. It's gestures. Gestures are going to be really important. And we're, you know, it's what it's all about right now. Right, 29 minutes. That's quite good for me. Lots of love, everybody. I'll be back tomorrow. Have a good day. Stay strong. Raise a toast to St. Patrick tonight. Bye for now. Bye.